Whoa! What is this title? Excuse me? Just reviews when 15 minutes of fame destroys your life forever? Why do people do this? Why did they do anything for clout?
What happens to you when you finally become famous, and the very thing you'd always dreamed of destroys your life in minutes? Well, in this video, we're gonna
Wait, a little kid and then he's under prison? What?
go over every way fame ruins lives, from access to forming your face beyond recognition, scams, FBI raids, and even death. Starting at level 1, self-sabotage. Like we're gonna see with this prank YouTuber known as Vitaly.
Does he talk about how he goes to prison?
Who is currently facing decades in prison, all for just 15 minutes of fame. Vitaly, like anyone starting out on YouTube, was looking to do anything it took to get views, no matter the consequences, pushing himself into any situation that would give him more clout. After not getting anywhere, he started doing edgy viral content like the Miami zombie prank, which piggybacked off a real-life tragedy, but it actually worked.
Wait,
and
what?
suddenly he would receive everything he was looking for: millions of views, a booming channel, a bunch of cash, and eventually roles in movies like Natural Born Pranksters.
This is my husband, George.
Natural Born Pranksters? What kind of movie is that? It's not a prank if it's all staged. The Miami Mess zombie attack? That's a real thing?
Congratulations, George. Beautiful baby.
Is this our baby?
Eve, I just got the text.
But once he realized the formula for easy virality, he would milk it to the bone, doing whatever it took for just another 15 minutes of fame, to just feel that same sensation again, over and over, whether it be getting arrested for climbing the Hollywood sign, streaking at the World Cup, or even scaling the Egyptian pyramids. But
yeah, he didn't even get into trouble for that, did he? He got maybe jail for a couple of weeks?
in 2020, he would finally push things too far. Whether he was simply stuck in the addictive loop of chasing fame or so desensitized to acting crazy, it didn't matter. He'd taken a step way too far behind mushrooms.
I believe it's like a drug addiction. I think that you start seeking out higher and higher so that you can just... Yeah.
Completely out of his mind, Vitaly viciously attacked a woman jogging in Miami. She did manage to survive, but the images were too disturbing for YouTube. Brands then dropped him, he was sued, and his channel was completely demonetized. So he would disappear from the public for 2 years, questioning his own life choices and seeing where he could go next. But suddenly in 2022, he would return, claiming to be sober and sorry.
Yeah, actually I have a letter that I wrote to her the next day, to the girl that nobody knows about it, and obviously she shouldn't forgive me, but how sorry. And that's not me. I didn't know her. I didn't know what I did.
Oh, you were a demon.
I have nobody to blame but myself, so it's not like I'm asking for forgiveness from any of this.
Bro, he's acting like he got possessed or something. Honestly, kind of like a fucking massive L. Yeah, even though he's saying he's sorry, I feel like it's not genuine. The content demon? Yeah, he's possessed by the content demon. I'm telling you, it's possession.
People watching or listening, I fucked up. I take the full responsibility, and I know it will never happen again.
But never really fully owning up to what he actually did. Instead, he just changed his strategy. First, he would start using OnlyKick, where he could finally get paid again, all for harassing women live on stream.
Social media, that garbage. I'm here for one reason and one reason only: to pick up black girls like you and out like there's no tomorrow.
Then
what is wrong with you? It's got this really weird, racist connotation, too. It's fucking racist. Where's the comedy? No, there is none. He's, actually harassing them.
In 2024, he pivoted to catching predators with Adam Ross, streams that mix self-righteous outrage with casino sponsorships and humiliation porn. But even that didn't last, and soon he had no choice but to leave the United States to find new people to use for 15 minutes more of fame. So by 2025, Vitaly was now in the Philippines, back to disturbing locals, stealing from shops, and making threats, all while live streaming every moment.
Excuse me, madam, I'm gonna rob you.
But when a fellow travel vlogger tried to reason with him and expressed his concerns about him harassing Filipinos, Vitaly responded with insults and more threats of violence. And suddenly, days later, Filipino law enforcement arrested him. This time, it wasn't a
Rip Bozo, frick around and find out. They need to start doing this in America, I swear. Someone just needs to start jailing these people. just set an example. It'll straighten things out.
Joke. He was actually formally charged with multiple crimes, charges that may well end up carrying decades of prison time, where he finally finds out what happens when the real world punches back against influencers. And coming up later in this video, we're gonna go over the darkest levels of fame, like this person who had everything money and fame could buy, to then suddenly descend into a psychotic meth-fueled breakdown in a psychiatric ward in just a matter of months, all because of one simple mistake. But for now, let's continue to the next level of the pyramid, level 2, selling your soul for views. Some people become famous for their talent. Dabo got famous for being the kind of guy who'd humiliate himself for public attention. The type everyone loves to laugh at and not with. This 17-year-old started out doing music reaction videos on YouTube, crying to Frank Ocean albums and gushing over Playboy Carti. But this isn't what made him go viral. What made him get his 15 minutes of fame was one photo, where he looked what people called chopped. The photo had a bad angle, it had acne, scars, headphones, and a bulletproof vest, and the internet would roast him for it. Overnight, memes exploded calling him chopped, but instead of disappearing or rebranding, Dabo leaned into it hard. He would keep on posting selfies with bad lighting, weird angles, greasy skin. His own fans started
Maybe he started like, you know, getting McDonald's grease and putting it on his face. That's a real thing, by the way.
Begging him to stop. Videos would spring up on YouTube asking why Dabo was so chopped, and why young Dabo is ugly as hell. People would start saying I made Dabo even more chopped, with some people even being genuinely concerned about how chopped he was. But this was his viral strategy to get 15 minutes of fame, because every time he either humiliated himself or had someone say he was ugly, he would then get more and more.
Chat spamming, ew.
15 minutes of fame, because every time he
his own bot is like, ew, don't do that, back up.
He either humiliated himself or had someone say he was ugly, he would then get
Chad does that with me too. But I know they're totally kidding, right?
more and more views, as these clips would rapidly get millions of views. His own self-degradation was a profitable business, one that propelled him to fame and got him rich. Soon he was now hanging out with the top streamers, like Kai Cenat, but it didn't take long for him to be quote-unquote expelled from streaming university over a bad haircut. He then got into physical fights with other streamers, with each humiliation going more and more viral. And as he became more known,
He can't stop, he's gonna push it to the limit.
as the ugly guy everyone could beat on, soon enough he built an entire reputation of being chopped and ugly, and this was the only way he could stay relevant. No one actually cared what he had to say, they just wanted to laugh at how he looked. You could also argue that he's making these decisions consciously and leaning into all of this for likes and views, but either way it's kinda tragic to look at, seeing a literal teenager humiliate themselves just to get their viral moment, and eventually you know this can't go on forever. Once he's
I don't know. I feel like when you start out that young, I feel like it probably also like weighed on his mental.
just known as the ugly guy, it will
I don't know if I could have taken it when I was 17. Like, I don't know. Like, I wasn't like ugly or like fat or anything. It just feels like when you're younger, you have no assurance of what you are or what you could be.
become boring and everybody will forget about him. It's the same kind of humiliation we see from girls like Bonnie Blue.
Don't remind me of her, please.
Doing anything it takes to just get 15 minutes of fame, no matter what it takes, whether it be self-humiliation or degrading yourself in front of millions. But sometimes selling your soul for views isn't just about humiliating yourself. It can also be by turning serious accusations into content, prioritizing fame over basic decency, like we'll see with Colleen Ballinger. You see, Colleen had over 10 million subscribers with her.
I have to wonder who's gonna be like the anything for views for VTubers. Who's that gonna be? When's that gonna happen? Is it gonna take another 10 years for it to like evolve? Fillion? No, Fillion is not anything for views, bro. No, she doesn't go around harassing people. Come on. Chat, no, Filament, Filiana, Filipina. She just does stupid shit. She doesn't like harass people. Yeah, I'm talking about like anything for views like Vitaly.
Miranda Singh's character. It was wholesome family content with great brand deals, Netflix shows, and she was absolutely living the dream. She had unlimited fame and millions in cash. But then in 2013, allegations surfaced that she was having inappropriate relationships with underage fans, sending lingerie to a minor as a joke. Screenshots
Yeah, a joke. Yeah.
Lots of group chats where she asked inappropriate questions about fans' sex lives started popping up all over the.
Oh my god. What's your favorite position? I love you. You got this, Miss Wheelchair. What is wrong with you? Why is it so hard not to talk to kids? Talk to an adult, you freak!
The internet, which is really weird stuff once you look at kid content creators and how predatory they often are. If you've seen any of these types of videos or the recent Netflix documentary, you all know this happens disturbingly frequently. But for Colleen, it was ending her career, and so she decided to capitalize on this moment to gain even more fame, no matter how bad it actually looked.
She's the ukulele girl.
She'd attempt some rather
up close.
Creative damage control, offering a fake heartfelt apology to capitalize on the moment. So she grabbed a ukulele and sang about it for 10 whole minutes.
The toxic gossip train.
She called
It's not gossip if it's real, man.
it the toxic gossip train, calling the allegations lies and rumors, even though the receipts were screenshots of her own messages and she admitted them herself. And whilst people might have thought she was serious, it was clear that she was doing this to gain more virality, to make people more outraged and remember her name. She even called out her
Well, it worked, yeah, I guess.
bony little back mid-song, a not so subtle way of fishing for compliments while pretending to be insecure. The cringe was off the charts and it was all deliberate, as people just couldn't believe she thought singing her way out of serious allegations was a good idea. Just look at the lyrics, they get worse and worse the more you read.
Yeah.
Suddenly her live shows were now being cancelled, brand deals suddenly disappeared, and Colleen, realizing how much hate was coming her way, vanished from social media for months. Her ex account reads, "I'm that girl with the lipstick that everyone hates," which says it all really. But the final person on this level is one of the most tragic.
Did she ever get, like, convicted or anything? Or was it just, you know, a bunch of people posting screenshots? Yeah, whatever happened to her.
In the entire video. Because what happens when, without knowing, you accidentally sell your soul for attention, trying so hard to look perfect, you actually become an internet meme instead? Well, that's exactly what happened to Alexi Vayner, who happened to be one of the first alpha male types ever seen on the internet.
I'm sorry. When I hear alpha male types, I immediately think oh my god, you're not actually like a giga chat or anything. You can't call yourself an alpha male. That's like not alpha.
But not in the way that you'd think. You see, in 2006, this Yale student wants to work at an investment bank UBS, but to be creative and stand out from the rest of the applications, he thought rather than sending a normal resume to the company, he would create a 7-minute video showcasing his diverse skill set, which was a great idea. He titled the video "Impossible is Nothing," which showed him ballroom dancing, bench pressing 495 pounds, hitting 140-mile-per-hour tennis serves, and karate chopping 7 bricks. In the video, he declares himself capable of achieving the impossible. The intention of the video wasn't to go viral, it was just for the employees at UBS, where he wanted to show he was more willing than other applicants to push the limits and achieve what others couldn't. In his application, he also claimed he founded a charity, started an investment firm, and published a book about the Holocaust. All of this made him an incredible person. The perfect person you could hire and follow.
Did he
unless
lie?
he was actually just an incredible liar. Because after the UBS hiring team went through his application, they quickly realized something was deeply off, as they soon realized all of his application was completely fake. The charity didn't exist, the investment firm was plagiarized from another company, and his supposed book contained passages lifted verbatim from internet sites. So someone at
This was before ChatGPT, bros. It's over.
UBS decided they would leak this all to the public, but little did he realize he would be releasing one of the first viral laughingstock videos. The internet absolutely tore Lesky apart. His video was reposted, remixed, and mocked endlessly across blogs, forums, and other YouTube. He became an internet punching bag overnight, the face of delusional self-confidence. His entire life fell apart like that. What seemingly just began as a normal job application spiraled into a full-blown internet pylon that haunted him for the rest of his life.
Crazy,
and it's even worse when you consider the fact that he probably hadn't even used or even known about YouTube at the time of making the video.
Was this during
he obviously
YouTube
never
times?
got the job, and his life never actually recovered. He was never able to move on from this, so he would go on to threaten legal action. He tried to sue UBS, the investment bank he actually applied for, as well as sending cease and desist letters to various blogs and websites sharing or mocking the video. But none of these threats were successful. And tragically, in 2013, he would suddenly die of a heart attack at the age of 29. Someone close to him said, It
probably was the stress. No, low-key.
like he took some drugs or medicine, had a heart attack, and a friend of his drove him to the hospital where they couldn't resuscitate him.
Wow.
I started
That's sad. Yeah, he didn't deserve that. I mean, that's still pretty fucking mean. But it was kind of funny.
This YouTube channel because I wanted to be able to share my ideas and thoughts with the rest of the
okay
world.
to lie,
and I know
Chan,
some of
no
you want to do
liars.
this too, but it can be overwhelming with the time and skills needed to do the same. But what if you had your own production team without spending all of your money? Well,
do people actually edit like this? What the hell is this? Why is he like touching the little clits of the computer? Is that a thing? It's got like, yeah, he's like DJ. Wait, is this AI too? What is going on?
all of
No, it's AI too! Look at his hand!
your money. Well, in
Oh
video
my god, it's AI! That's why it's got like a computer clip. That's what the AI wants.
spending all of your money. Well, Nvidia AI enables you to do just that. All you gotta do is
It's
just
AI
type in the idea
slop,
that you want to create a video about.
Imagine a world where the internet suddenly vanishes. No warning, no explanation, it's just gone.
This is seriously
You know what
game-changing.
else is
You can
gone?
even edit whatever you like using simple
SmugAlana.
text commands like add my voice and make the video more intense. Unlike traditional video tools with steep learning curves that
Jarvis, make my voice deeper and hotter, thank you.
only solve for parts of your video creation process, Nvidia is the creative partner that you've always wanted. It removes all friction and puts you in the director's seat, letting users focus entirely on their vision and their idea while
Why is he poking at a screen that says nothing?
letting users focus entirely on their vision and their
That's
idea while
crazy.
Nvidia AI does all the heavy lifting. And you can try Nvidia AI for free. This will save you hundreds of dollars that you would otherwise spend on editing, animating, and other production costs. So make sure to check out Nvidia AI using the link in the description below. Now, let's go on to the next level of the pyramid. But let's not reveal exactly what level 3 is about. Let's see if you can actually guess with the first story of Belle Gibson. Belle Gibson was
Who's that?
Instagram wellness perfection. She was
I thought Belle Gibson was Mel Gibson's daughter.
young and glowing, but was dying of brain cancer that she cured through her own health routines. According to her
Okay.
remarkable story, she was diagnosed at the age of 20, but miraculously she rejected chemotherapy and was able to heal herself with diet and alternative medicine. Her whole pantry app hit 200,000 downloads in a month. And
That's crazy, dude. You guys don't realize this? Like, for a company, for that to happen is like insane. 200K? I'm calling cap. I'm not saying that a healthier diet will not help you if you have cancer. I absolutely think that eating healthy can prevent you from gaining diseases, but like to completely cure yourself of cancer, I just don't think that's like a realistic thing. You need help, man.
Apple made this their featured app.
helps!
Because of the amazing
Yeah.
success of overcoming cancer, her cookbook became a bestseller. But Belle was selling more than just recipes. She was selling hope to other cancer patients. She claimed to have donated $300,000 to sick children in African schools.
That's a lot.
Parents doing everything they could to fight their kids' cancer sent her all of their last dollars, believing in her miracle cure through smoothie bowls. The media praised
Bro, I have smoothie bowls in my fucking freezer, man. I have a dragon fruit one. It's actually really tasty. Whoa! That's gonna cure cancer?
her as a hero, even when her list of diseases became a
tasty.
little bit ridiculous. A terminal brain tumor, blood cancer, cancer in the spleen,
Lady, you have every type of cancer and you think that your your homemade smoothie is like gonna save you? Who buys into this?
and even liver. So when journalists investigated all of her claims in 2015, they revealed the true extent of her lies. Only $7,000 had ever been donated. The rest funded Belle's designer clothes, cosmetic procedures, and luxury lifestyle. Then came the next big revelation. Belle
God.
never even had cancer at all. There were no
what a surprise.
medical records, no doctors going on the record, no scars from her supposed multiple surgeries, and when cornered she finally admitted that none of it was true. The most shocking thing about all
She's a hypochondriac. Didn't we watch an entire little video like a year or two ago of a woman that made her daughter sick so that they could go on free Disney cruises or something? People are so abhorrent and disgusting.
of this was that Belle showed no remorse. She blamed her childhood, painted herself as the victim, and offered no apology to the
Yeah,
cancer
she's a sociopath, yeah.
patients who'd rejected treatment to follow her theories. She made up an entire narrative about having cancer just to get famous, and as a result, the courts fined her $410,000. The government is trying to bankrupt her for all of the lies and the terrible things she's done, using this whole story to get money and fame. But as of 2025, she still hasn't paid a single cent, doing everything she can to avoid paying the fines. And some are now believing that she suffered actual delusions about her conditions, but others just view
That's a real thing. Yeah, like people convince themselves that they have diseases even if doctors tell them that they don't have it. It's a real thing.
this as pure and simple criminal intent with horrific consequences, doing anything it takes to get money. And so we can see here on level 3 how easily 15 minutes of fame can lead to financial collapse, in this case for good reason. But this doesn't just lead to the financial collapse of the famous person, like we can see with the Hawk Tour girl. By now, most of you have all heard of Haley World.
Oh god, I thought we'd fucking get over her, man. Has she come back? Like, did she do more talk shows or some shit?
Who became famous for the one phrase shouted drunkenly on a Nashville streets.
Oh, you gotta give him that Hawk Tour and spit on that thing.
Rolling Stone called her Gen Z's Dolly Parton, which tells you how
dare you say she's even close to Dolly Parton? Nah, piss yourself. That's ridiculous. Dolly could sing. She was a kind person. She read books to children. What is going on? Who wrote this article? Joe, you need to be sacked.
how desperate media outlets were.
It's a frickin' psyop. Dolly had the big old boobas. Yeah, and she had a nice rack.
Clicks. Initially, she did seem sweet enough though. She used her platform to donate to animal shelters, launched a podcast called Talk Tour, and it all seems so genuine and wholesome. But when you become famous like this, it always comes with
I don't give a shit if you donate to a bunch of doggos. I mean, it's very nice of you, but at the end of the day, you crypto scammed a bunch of people. Dolly never crypto scammed anybody!
unexpected costs. And Haley had no idea, but her 15 minutes of fame was a goldmine for a group of shady crypto influencers and ex-agency marketers, looking to use her fame and milk it for all it was worth. During this time of fame, Haley was hit with a flood of DMs from celebrities, podcasters, and opportunists. But this one group in particular promised her that with this fame she was now experiencing, she could be making millions without any real work. All she had to do was just follow their lead and she'd be rich. Just follow the plan and do what every other influencer does. Seeing that others had done it and how easy it would be, it was hard to ignore such an offer. Which is why suddenly out of nowhere, Haley would launch her own cryptocurrency called
here we go. No accountability. Oh, she got coerced. A bunch of people coerced her into doing a crypto scam. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, no, she's an innocent little angel.
Hawk. The marketing was intense. Videos talking about the coin, about how revolutionary this would be, and within 15 minutes, the coin had hit a $490 million market cap. The plan to get rich was actually working, and Haley had finally achieved the dream, fame and money, until the coin crashed hard. Here's what happened. 97% of the supply was controlled by just 10 people. A classic crypto move. And after they sold off all their coins, the token had lost about 90% of its value in hours, while they walked away with millions. This is a classic rug pull and it's fairly common, though this might be one of the worst rug pulls around. Her fans were betrayed. CoffeeZilla showed the world how terrible this really was, making people think Hulk to a girl was nothing more than just a simple con artist. And the group around Hailey had got what they wanted. They'd got millions of dollars and didn't have to care about the entire situation now that they had the money. And then things got even worse for Hailey. Quote, after the coin launch, the feds came to Granny's house, Hailey told interviewers. Quote, she called me having a heart attack saying the FBI's here after you, what have you done?
I'm sorry, the fact that you're bringing up your granny when you knew this could have happened, I don't know, man. I feel like she just didn't have enough money. Genuinely, she had thousands of dollars, hundreds of thousands of dollars, and she still felt the need to just scam everybody for like $1 million more. She's a Fed plant. I'm convinced with how stupid her quote-unquote meme was and how forced it was, she's a Fed.
Of course, multiple lawsuits were filed, and Hailey was freaking out, as not long ago she was just a normal girl living her regular life.
Normal.
And after one interview, she was now one of the most hated people on the internet, entangled in deep lawsuits and known as a con artist, and perhaps even manipulated by a bunch of predatory investors. While Hailey was eventually cleared of criminal wrongdoing, the damage was already done. People had—
Since when? I'm holding her accountable for what she did.
Lost thousands, even millions, which is why today this bad reputation has stuck with her wherever she goes. She's lost partnerships with Jake Paul's better. She's hated on every time she posts, and her relevancy is now fading away as quick.
Jake Paul dropped her. He's the one that probably convinced her to go for the crypto shit. He scammed people so many times. That's so funny. I feel so bad she's definitely used. I know, but like, you just put two and two together. It's like, oh, Jake Paul, yeah. She was sponsored by him and everything. He found her. I think he took her into his agency too.
As her rise. Even so, financial ruin and government investigations are still just money and reputation. But what happens when fame doesn't just take your wealth, but also takes your life and humanity too? Well, buckle up, because level 4 on this pyramid is where we stop talking about careers and now focus about how fame destroys lives. Where fame corrupts people's entire mindset and value systems. When their brains are literally altered to remove emotion and any sense of morality. Meet Alex and Frankie Venegas, the Island Boys, the twin brothers who went viral freestyling in a hot tub with face tattoos, diamond grills, and vertical dreadlocks that looked like palm trees growing out of their skulls.
They look like Cheetos. Yeah, tasty Cheetos.
Who used their 15 minutes of fame to hide their alleged gang association, violence, and befriendment of child murderers? You've probably seen them by now. They were the classic Florida stereotype. Being these crazy characters, it wouldn't take long for them to get famous. And that first moment of fame came in October 2021, when a video of them performing I'm an Island Boy exploded across social media, getting 9 million views before it was deleted. But now everyone knew their faces, their hairstyles, and their infectious yet pretty awful freestyle.
Cause I'm an island boy, and I've been trying to make.
This is an insult to Floridians, man. What the hell? Stereotypical Florida? Nah, this is extreme.
I'm an island boy. I'm just island boy. I'm just island boy.
But Kodak Black, seeing their potential as characters, offered them a legitimate record deal. And they turned it down. This was their first real path to success, handed to them on a silver platter by the top of the Florida rap scene. And instead they just walked away from it. And it was this sort of decision making that would later gain them more infamy. Thinking they could go without Kodak and anyone's help, and do it all by themselves, they continued to try and get to the top of the music industry. But when their music career predictably failed, desperation soon set in. They realized they couldn't just bank on their look alone. Their character wouldn't be enough for long-term fame.
So now they're gonna kiss each other for views, despite being related. And they're twins, aren't they?
And people like George Janko were now calling them out on it, having explosive fights like in this clip.
An accident, God forbid, a situation would happen. You know me from Island Boys, but you know I'm thugging, bro, right?
But as reality started to settle in, and they realized their 15 minutes of fame was fading, they quickly turned to their last resort, OnlyFans. In July 2023, desperate to get any more fame and attention, any sort of relevancy that would get their names in headlines once again, they crossed a line that shouldn't even exist.
Who'd pay for that? Who?
regain that 15 minutes of sweet fame, they would post videos of themselves kissing each other. Yes, twin brothers kissing for money.
Thank you for censoring it.
Ironically enough, the kissing videos almost resulted in their OnlyFans being banned based on the platform's no incest policy. Instead, they defended themselves, saying, "We're twin brothers, we came out of the womb together. It's not really disgusting if it's twins."
Huh?
And they claim they just wanted to see how effed up the world is.
Dude, I have a sibling. Like, the thought of kissing them actually makes me fucking sick. Yeah, the Lannisters send their regards. Goon brain? This is beyond goon brain. I think this is, like, insanely low IQ.
And well, they found out. The move actually worked. For the first time in years, they finally got that fame back. They were finally relevant once again. And on top of that, they also made $389,000 in just 3 months, with over $200,000 coming from just June alone. Yes, people were now paying.
God, there's a sucker born every fucking minute, man. I can't believe this shit. That's crazy.
To watch their degradation.
Ooh.
People were that interested in their fall, and so curious to see how far they would go for fame, that they would actually pay the twins to have incest. And while that might sound an exaggeration just because they kissed, things would get so much worse. Once they saw the fame was then drifting away from themselves once again, they had to come up with another strategy. Soon they would claim to do sexual acts. But the money wouldn't stop the descent. In February 2022, their Florida home was raided by SWAT teams, searching for a childhood friend wanted for murdering an 8-year-old girl. And
Yeah, deserved. Yeah, deserved. They need to go to jail. Yeah.
And he was found hiding in the house.
Yeah, they probably knew, by the way. That's disgusting.
So following on from their OnlyFans degradation, in February 2025, Frankie was also arrested for drugs and guns and later for reckless driving, and again for domestic violence after allegedly assaulting his girlfriend. And having hit a murderer, his case wasn't looking good, as police records now identify him as a documented gang member and associate. The Island Boys are a ridiculous case, but whilst it can be argued that the Island Boys were shaped from their teenage years by social media, they were adults by the time they started doing all of these terrible acts. So then, what can be said of a child? You see, Amanda should have been a success story. Discovered at just age 10 on Nickelodeon, she was talented, funny, and seemed well adjusted.
This was sad, because you know the underlying connotation is that she basically got groomed, man.
But behind the wholesome image, she was fighting a losing battle. You see, Hollywood couldn't let her grow up. Her childhood innocence was the only thing Hollywood cared about. She was stuck with roles only to play innocent characters, allegedly forced on by her parents, and the frustration of this entire situation was eating her alive. She could never escape her childhood, even as she grew into an adult. Eventually, no amount of fame or money was worth it for her, so in 2010 she announced her retirement at just 24, sick of having to be a permanent child for her family and Hollywood. And after her moment of childhood,
it fucks with your head. I bet it does. When you're like constantly put in situations where you're not seen as an adult, even when you're 24.
fame, her life began unraveling in the most public way possible. Like many child stars,
she would schizo post on Twitter. I remember reading it a long time ago.
Suddenly started experiencing multiple DUIs, hit and runs, and some 7 accidents in just 1 year. The horror show played out on Twitter, with Amanda's manic oversharing becoming legendary for all the wrong reasons. In one famous incident, she told Rihanna, "Chris Brown beat you because you're not pretty enough." But instead of treating this like a mental health crisis, the media treated her breakdown like entertainment. This was great for clicks and views. Her real life collapse was happening in real time for everyone to see, and this was an amazing way to get more views and thus more money. So the media and influencers started circulating around her, reporting on her every movement as she had.
It's like Britney Spears, but like the Hollywood version. Yeah, they grew up around at the same time. I think Britney got thrust into music stuff like when she was 15, and she did it when she was obviously younger, but basically they both cracked.
Full-on mental breakdown, all while the world laughed at her. But things went from bad to worse. As her life got more crazy, she locked herself in a New York cupcake store bathroom, and was then arrested for allegedly throwing a bong out of an apartment.
Yeah, this is the really famous picture. Yeah.
Window. She then started a fire in a stranger's driveway, and so it wouldn't take long for her to be placed on an involuntary psychiatric hold. But
and it's sad because at the time I thought she was just a crazy bitch, and then like later on, all this stuff came out about Nickelodeon and Dan Schneider and how Hollywood like, you know, corrupts child stars, and I actually felt really bad that I thought of them that way. Yeah.
The lowest point came when she tweeted horrific allegations against her father and claimed she now had a microchip in her brain. In 2013, it was a normal sunny day in LA. Tourists were sightseeing Hollywood. There were people jogging, cars cruising by, until one person noticed a strange lady on the street. People dismissed her as just another crazy on the streets of LA. But then somebody noticed her face looked familiar. It was Amanda Bynes, waving down cars with no clothes on, her face looking completely deranged. She called 911 on herself and was whisked.
Wait, on herself? Isn't that a cry for freaking help, man?
Way back into the psychiatric hospital. She'd been taken into Hollywood, seeing the sun, the bright lights, the fame and fortunes, and churned out the other end. Just one of hundreds of thousands of crazy people on the streets of Los Angeles, living a life after fame. And since all of this, she's just dropped off of the radar. And with multiple plastic surgeries, she now looks completely unrecognizable and has aged well beyond her years. This is exactly what fame does to a developing brain when combined with mental illness and relentless public scrutiny.
Yeah, and her parents just didn't care about her. So sad.
It's a tragic mix, and all part of the dystopian Hollywood machine. But even level 4 isn't the bottom of this pit. There's one more level we need to dive into. Welcome to level 5, the darkest side of fame. When fame takes away anything left of your sanity, strips you of everything you love and makes your life a living hell. In these final cases, you start to realize fame, whether pre or post social media, is truly a double-edged sword. And in these most tragic cases, it was never even a choice, as we'll see in our next example. This is Orlando Brown, a child star who had everything with his part in That's So Raven.
Oh yeah! I remember this show.
Orlando was living every child's dream. He was on one of the biggest TV shows. He was the main star, a Disney Channel golden boy with a bright future. With this kind of gig as a child, he could become anything as an adult. It was the perfect life for him. He was already a star and would never have to work a day in his life, as he played Eddie Thomas, the lovable best friend, a goofy, loyal, full of energy character. For millions of kids, he was a familiar face after school, cracking jokes and lighting up the screen. It wasn't just a role, he was part of the magic of early 2000s Disney. But because of the character he played, it was very hard for him to find other work afterwards. Simply because
That's a really common trap. If you're a child star, even if you try to break out of the mold, it's extremely difficult. It's like Harry Potter and Robert Pattinson, not Harry Potter, Jesus. Daniel Radcliffe and Hermione, the fucking Emma Watson and Rupert Grint and a bunch of other child actors. It's really, really hard for them to get out. Yeah, Twilight and Robert Pattinson. They usually go to the extreme and have to like do really serious movies to like have people take them seriously.
You could see him playing anyone else. He was born just for that role, and transitioning into any adult roles was too difficult a task. In many interviews, he alluded to feeling abandoned by the industry and former co-stars, including his co-star in That's So Raven. His financial prospects were dwindling, and soon the reality was setting in, that he'd have to give up his whole childhood dreams, all the potential and possibilities he had in front of him to go back into regular life, all whilst being known as a child star. That feeling of regressing back was tragic for him, and by the early 2010s, he started exhibiting erratic behavior, including
oh my lord,
very bizarre interviews and public runs.
He looks cooked. He's probably on the Zanny.
And for him, the only way to escape the horrors of this life, of being famous for his glorious past, all whilst having nothing left today, made him turn to methamphetamine. As in 2016, he was arrested for domestic violence and meth possession in a police station parking lot. Let that sink in. He was so far gone that he assaulted his girlfriend literally in front of a building full of cops while carrying illegal drugs. But the real nightmare was only just beginning for Orlando, because the arrests just kept rolling in, with hotel raids and breaking into his childhood friend's restaurant. They found him on the roof like some sort of deranged cat burglar, and when he kept skipping court dates, bounty hunters had to track him down across state lines. Then in 2018, he appeared on Dr. Phil claiming to be 4 years sober while so obviously high that viewers
I was about to say, I Am I fucked up for saying that he looks cooked?
Could practically see the drugs coursing through his system. He then told Dr. Phil that his full
Why
name
are his eyes like lizard? Like, I don't want to be mean, but like, his eyes aren't even opening fully.
was Orlando Brown Prince Michael Jackson Jr., and that the King of Pop was his father.
What's your full name?
My full name is Orlando Brown Prince Michael Jackson Jr.
Is he wearing contacts? Yeah, he's wearing contacts.
And that's AKA Blanket.
4 years after this Dr. Phil segment, Brown's mental health deteriorated further and further. He was spiraling out of his control.
It's kind of fucked up that Dr. Phil just let it happen, like the interview.
Reaching his breaking point
He's
when Brown was
farming for
arrested after
content.
threatening his brother with a hammer and a broken off knife blade. Things took a really dark turn in 2023 when Brown was cast in Zeus Network reality show Bad Boys Texas, and the season literally opened with him being bailed out of jail so he could be on the show. He showed up to the premiere in a prison jumpsuit, with the very people who made him famous to begin with and caused him this downward spiral, now using his rock bottom to make television. Since this, Brown has been undergoing psychiatric evaluation and was homeless at his last arrest. The Disney kid who once made millions of children laugh is now a cautionary tale about what happens when drugs, fame, and mental illness collide spectacularly. It's truly a heartbreaking story, but at least he had some agency in its destruction. But what happens when fame destroys someone who never had any choice at all? Well, Jake Lloyd can tell us about that.
Ooh.
The year is
Is it the
1999,
young Anakin?
and Jake Lloyd at the age of 8 was chosen from 3,000 candidates to play young Anakin Skywalker. It would be a young kid's
pressure,
dream to
man.
play this role. The prequels were just releasing, and this was the perfect opportunity for an 8-year-old to take over the world and become a famous star in his adulthood. Before he was even 10 years old, he was destined for Hollywood success. He was going to be the face of the new Star Wars. But instead,
Such a
it
big
turned out
deal.
that this role would destroy his entire life.
I think that all the parents that have kids that grow up in from child acting, you have to do a really good job and actually care for your child, and the ones that don't have parents that actually take care of them, they're the ones that crack. Because like there are examples of child actors that don't go down this rabbit hole.
The bullying after the film was released started immediately and never actually stopped. From elementary school through college, other kids would make lightsaber sounds every time they saw him. And the cruelty stemmed from the film itself. Instead of propelling his career, The Phantom Menace was widely seen as a huge disappointment.
Yeah.
The film was hated on by almost all Star Wars fans, and it was labeled a joke in Hollywood. And Jake, being one of the most prominent roles in this film, playing a young Anakin Skywalker,
It's not his fault. He's just a kid.
became the main laughingstock for fans of the movie. People would mock his line delivery, made fun of the pod racing
That's not his fault. Again, it's I always try to say, like, give benefit of the doubt to an actor if they can show in other films that they do a good job. Yeah. 'Cause it's not really your fault. If the director tells you to say a line and then they don't fix it or like do something about it, it's absolutely like the director's fault.
and teased him relentlessly for all the awkward cringe dialogue that he was forced to read out, things completely outside of his control. And with the film releasing, he was only 10 years old by this point. He was feeling the weight of an entire film's
Everybody
backlash, the
bullies
first time he
you.
achieved fame as just a young child, which was now destroying his life completely. But the real horror was happening inside Jake's mind. By college, he complained of people with black eyes following him and had imaginary conversations.
They actually made him go crazy.
His grades then plummeted as his grip on reality slowly began
That sounds like some sort of like onset of like schizophrenia, like people following you and stuff.
to unravel. In 2015, Jake's mental health reached a breaking point. During a cross-country road trip, he led South Carolina police on a 25-mile high-speed chase exceeding 100 miles per hour. He was then arrested and spent 10 months in jail before being transferred to a psychiatric facility and finally diagnosed with schizophrenia. Then,
They induced schizophrenia on him.
tragedy struck again. In
He
2018,
actually
Jake's
schizoed out.
26-year-old sister Madison died unexpectedly in her sleep.
Oh my god, that is so unlucky.
from natural causes. She had also been an extra in The Phantom Menace alongside her brother, and was one of the few people who could keep him grounded. She was one of the only lines of defense against the hatred towards the movie and young Anakin Skywalker. This is why his mum explained that he just couldn't handle life after this. He spiraled deeply into an even darker place. In March 2023, while his mother was driving him home from McDonald's, Jake suffered what she called a complete psychotic break. Without warning, he demanded she stop the car and then turn off the ignition himself, all whilst they were in the middle lane of a busy 3-lane highway. He had no acting prospects, he was losing—
Dude, imagine being the mom, man. You can't like calm down your child.
his mind, and his reputation was down in the gutter. Jake was then immediately hospitalized after the incident and spent the next 18 months in inpatient psychiatric care at a mental health facility in Southern California. Today, he's 36 years old and living at a rehabilitation center, slowly learning to manage his condition with medication and therapy. But do you know the saddest part of all of this? Well, is that Jake's mother revealed that he was oblivious as a kid, explaining he was just riding his bike outside, playing with his friends. He didn't know, he didn't care. Now, the breakdown probably would have happened anyway due to his genetic predisposition to schizophrenia, as there did turn out to be a family history on his father's side. But
but it was still probably, like, again, you can't say definitively, but it probably absolutely didn't help.
Family continues to assert that his childhood fame was the short-term trigger, and ironically, Jake remains a huge Star Wars fan today. He even recently watched the Disney Plus series and received an action figure for his birthday. He loves all the new Star Wars stuff, his mother says. People think Jake
Man, I wanted to make a joke, but it's kind of mean.
hates Star Wars, but he loves it.
I don't know about liking the fucking new Star Wars. I'm sorry, little bro. Like, but...
However, all of these stories reveal a really disturbing pattern. Whether it's social media virality or childhood stardom, fame has become a double-edged sword that cuts deeper than most people ever realize. People trade their dignity for fleeting moments of relevance, but fame rarely ever delivers what it promises.
What is this? What has little bro got in his head?
For fleeting moments of relevance, but fame rarely
Sorry, I had to do a double take. I was reading chat and then I saw the fucking house. What? What are those?
ever delivers what it promises. Instead of power or fulfillment or happiness, it offers temporary attention that demands an even higher price. Where going viral
I know it's Jaden Smith, but like, holy shit, what?
or can feel worth any cost. However, these stories do demonstrate that 50 minutes of fame can have lasting consequences.
God damn, dude. Chat, remember, don't be an actor. It sucks.